Hi, everybody. Lori here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to bring you the reveal of the newest Beautiful Days collection with Simon Says Stamp. A beautiful, springy, it's got Mother's Day and all the fun things. I'm going to start with the new background cling. This is called a Geo Leaf background, and as always the backgrounds are red rubber mounted on a cushy foam. They have a clingy back, so they work beautifully with any type of stamp positioner, although you don't have to use a stamp positioner. It's a great geometric background. I love these kind of uniform petal design. It'll be great embossed. Moving on to some stamp sets. We have a few to choose from. This first one is called From All of Us. If you're making a card that's going to be from a bunch of people, maybe your entire family, maybe your whole office, maybe your class or whatnot, you can use this. There's coordinating dies that coordinates with all the sentiments, a great mixture and sizing of fonts. You could stamp these sentiments on the inside of a card. You could also use them on the front of the card. I just like the mixture, and that'll be a great one to have on hand. Next we have Hot Flashes. There is one coordinating die to go with that big hot flash. And now this is a great one to give to your friends that might be going through menopause and getting some hot flashes. There's some really funny sentiments. Whoop it up. We'll never be old and gray. Let's go with classic and sparkly. Cremation may be our last chance at a smoking hot body. Happy birthday. 1 minute you're young and fun. The next you're turning down the car stereo so you can hear better. Oh, so you can see better. Another year older and a whole lot hotter. Okay, that's a good one. Now, next we have Yarn Love. If you're a yarn lover, or maybe you know someone who is a yarn lover, there are a bunch of coordinating dies to go with this stamp set. If you know someone who's a knitter or a crocheter or a seamstress, maybe that's you. I love that big ball of yarn. I would like to stamp a whole row of balls of yarn and color them in rainbow order. I just love rainbow balls of yarn. Okay, next we have Geo Flower Building. Okay, coordinating dies to go with it. This one here is right up my geometric love and alley. I mean, endless patterns to be had. Now there is a stencil in this release called Bold Geometrics. I'm not going to say they coordinate, but I'm going to say they complement. I feel like you could use them together. You could make it work. I'm not going to say they were made for each other, but they're kind of like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I mean? And then also the one I showed before, the Geo Leaf background cling. Again, I feel like they could maybe be used together. That single little petal, you could stamp and layer with that background cling. Just throwing that out there. Okay, Mother's Day Dogwood. Another beautiful, large Mother's Day themed stamp set. There's coordinating dies to go with those big blooms, and what is that, like a wreathy heart-shaped bloom. There's a lot of different sentiments that aren't limited to Mother's Day, like just thank you, and thank you for believing me, for always being there, thoughtfulness. And then we have Garden Fresh, and there are coordinating dies to go with these. I didn't have the dies to show you, but I printed off what it's going to look like. Now, don't be fooled by the size. The die sizing is okay. They're going to be the size of the images in the stamp set. There's also a stencil in this release called Botanical Jars that does coordinate with the jars in the stamp set, and you could color those. You could blend those like a soft jar colors, and then you could color in your blooms. And this is a great one for spring. You got the watering can and all the blooms and whatnot. There's also some beautiful sentiments for various occasions, as well as the coordinating dies. Okay, this one here, Poppy Perfection. This was released in a previous card kit. It's also being part of the Beautiful Days collection. There are coordinating dies to go with all those images and sentiments. It's a beautiful, if you love poppies, you're going to love Poppy Perfection. Okay, moving on to some standalone dies. We have From All of Us Script. Again, one if you want to give a card from a large group. And I die cut all of these to show you so you can really see what it looks like. You got the word die and you've got that shadow backer. I did this one out of some, what is that, like light blue and cream. And then you have Rose Winged Butterfly. Another intricate, kind of giving me folksy vibes. I love the intricacy And you could do a lot of different things with this paper piecing. You could ink blend behind it. Then we have the large, fancy happy birthday. This one's a little deceiving because it's quite a bit, not quite a bit, but it's a little bit larger than what you see on the packaging. And it's got a great font to it. I did this one out of green and layered it on some scrap pattern paper. Kind of an odd combination, but we'll just go with it. And then we have leafy sprig. Just a cute little leafy sprig. Everyone needs a cute little leafy sprig. I want to do this out of vellum. I probably will do this out of vellum. It's just a great accent to have on hand. Fancy mom and shadow. And because mom deserves nothing less than to be fancy. Did this one out of purple and white. And, of course, you don't have to use that shadow. You can just use the mom word die by itself. And then we have mum. Okay, this is one, there's been other word dies like this with this style. You've got the backer shadow and you've got this outlined mom word, but there's also the inner letters that popped out. You could do those in another color and put them back in and get a lot of different looks out of this word die. Next we have Simple Mother's Day. I did this one out of 2 different shades of pink for a classic Happy Mother's Day word die sentiment. Put that on any floral background and you are good to go for a perfect Mother's Day card. Okay, next we have You're Like a Mother to Me, another scripty one with that big shadow backer. And one thing I want to say is a lot of these word dies that I die cut, I use the micro dot adhesive sheets to glue those together, and it was just pain-free. It was a delight. Okay, Spring Blossoms. Another classic little bouquet of florals. I'll show you later how this looks great in those jar stencils. I'll show you later. It works great. And then we have another one, another variation. This is called Delicate Florals. It's a little bit taller and some different florals in there, but it's an intricate. You could do some paper piecing or blend behind it. A lot of different things. I've done paper stripping behind it. Okay, now we have the square dies. You get the single square or the 5 squares. Now, what can you do with a square? What can you not do with a square is the question, really. Okay, so you can buy a single one or you can buy a pack of 5. I mean, you know what I would do. I'd buy the pack of 5 because look at this. You can just make designs. Wait till you see the card I show at the end that I use the square dies. Put a sprig over it. They're little accents. They're squares. You can do anything with them. Okay, moving on to some stencils. We have the Fluttering Butterflies. This is a layering stencil set. There are 3 stencils that you can layer to create gorgeous butterflies. And there's also some little, I don't know what you call it, like little butterfly trail bubbles, or you could just make little bubbles. I'm not sure, but you could create a lot of fun different looks. And there's the butterflies are all kind of going in different directions, so you can, however you want to do that. And then you have the chunky knit. This is a fun pattern, and it does kind of go with the crochet knit theme if you want to pair that with the Yarn Love stamp set. And then this is that bold geometrics stencil that I showed before. I'm not going to say it coordinates, but it kind of complements some of the background cling and that geoflower building stamp set. Now here again is the botanical jars, and that does coordinate with the Garden Fresh stamp set, like so. I showed this before. You can blend the color into those jars, the lids, and the little accent on the bottom of a jar. But I also want to show you that little die cut. I forgot what it's called. Spring Blossoms. Look how that fits in that jar. So you could blend a jar, slap a die cut, bada boom. Okay, moving on to some Kathy Zielske designs. We have Giggles and. Okay, this does have coordinating dice to go. This is like a little mini. And it's packing some Kathy Zielske humor. Might not be everyone's cup of tea. It's got a little bit of a potty mouth going on here, but it might be exactly your cup of tea. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, you don't. But it's got some oh crap, oh poop, and then it goes downhill from there. Okay, we have Sisters Forever, another larger one. This does have coordinating dies for all of these fantastic larger sentiments. I love the mixture of fonts. And I also love that even though it's kind of a sister theme stamp set, there are a lot of sub-sentiments that you can use that aren't necessarily locked into the sister theme, which I use on a card at the end. Okay, then we have the Swoopy Love You Mama. Okay, and this one has got that swoopy word die and the shadow backer. I did it out of some doll pink and white cardstock. And then lastly, we have Sister. And this would pair perfectly with the Sisters Forever stamp set. Again, you got that classic Kathy Zielske font with the shadow backer. Okay, moving on to some new sentiment strips. This first one is called Bold Mom sentiment strips, and it is the black printed on white cardstock. And you get 4 sheets in a set. 2 sheets are identical, and then you get another 2 sheets of different sentiments. And I love to use these all the time. Now here's the reverse. It's the reverse Bold Mom sentiment strips. It's the same sentiment strips, this time reversed, just white on black, which is my personal favorite. These work beautifully with the sentiment label dies. I also love to use the little mini guillotine paper trimmer to cut these out as well. Next we have the Sister sentiment strips. And these are, I believe, Kathy Zielske did these. So you get 4 sheets again. 2 sheets are identical, and then you get another 2 sheets of another whole set of sentiments. So there's a lot of sentiments to choose from. And then you have the reverse Sister. Love these ones. If you like to make a card for your sister, or maybe your sister from another mister, or maybe it's just your friend that you call your sister, sentiment strips are my go-to. I use them all the time. Okay, moving on to some extras. We have some gorgeous new pastel color blend cardstock. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You get 8 sheets in a pack. It's 100 pound. And the colors are, look at this kind of ombre mint and ombre aqua blue and ombre purple pink. They're pastel dreamy. They're glossy. They die cut beautifully. They're just a great background ready to go if you want to slap that down on a card. Looks like you can blend like a master. And then we also have a pack of everyday acetate sentiment strips. There's 4 sheets in a pack. Now these are printed on acetate with toner, so you could use Decofoil, run these through a laminator and foil these sentiments. I've always wanted to try that, and I'm gonna do it. I love that the sentiments are just kind of all purpose. Like ones you're actually going to use: missing you, happy birthday, thinking of you, hello, with appreciation, with sympathy. Just good classic sentiments that you can use as is, or you can foil them. Next up is some half sheet cardstock sleeves. They come in a pack of 6. They're 4 3/4 by 9 1/2 inches tall. And these are perfect for storing half sheets of cardstock. So I wanted to just show this. I have a full sheet of Schoolhouse Red, 8 1/2 by 11. I'm cutting it right in half at 5 1/2. So now you have 2 sheets. And I want to show you how it fits snug as a bug in a rug in these little half sheet cardstock sleeves. So if you like to, store your cardstock in half sheets, this is another great option. Okay, I'm excited about these next 2 little tools. We have the Place and Score embellishment wand and the Place and Pierce embellishment wand, and they come in these little tubes, and they've got little protective caps. So I'm going to show you. This one here is like a needle, kind of like you can poke out the chads and all the innards of die cuts. And this one here has a kind of a tacky little ball that you could place embellishments, kind of sticks to little dewdrops and sequins. And then this one here has a little embellishment wand that is a wax tip. And by the way, this screws off, and you can buy, which they do have in the release, replacement wax tips that you can replace those with. And then this one here is kind of a score, a little metal ball tip. You can score your card bases or score little, I've also seen people use that to kind of manipulate a bloom die cut. You can also see the little Simon's stamp branding on it. There's little tiny beads inside, and I just love that there's little caps and there's little tubes that you can store them in. Just another fun Simon's stamp branded tool. Last but certainly not least, we have a few new sequins. The Lilac Sparkle Sequin Mix. It's a mixture of lilac and silver iridescent, great for some lilac springy shakers. And then we have Rose Gold sequins. A variety of sizes iridescent rose gold kind of confetti sequin mix. And that is everything from the new Beautiful Days collection. Before we go, I just wanted to share a couple of projects that I've created using some of these new products. This first one, this is what I was dying to show you, using that square die. And then I topped it with a leafy sprig. I used one of the sentiment strips. This card features the rose-winged butterfly die cut. The sentiment is from Kathy Zilski's Sisters Forever. Make sure and check out the Simon Says Stamp blog for more information and inspiration using the new Beautiful Days release. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at SimonsSaysStamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.